Good evening. Please excuse that sound. We're live from my den, and there's an air freshener that went off. It's 7 o'clock, and you are joining in for Campaign Chat Live for May 26th, 2020, the day after Memorial Day. It's been a kind of off couple of weeks for us. Last week, I was doing repairs to my computer, which is now running much better. And yesterday we elected to postpone until today because of the holiday. And, that said, though, we're live, we're here. Remember that you can tweet along at any time. Just feel free to tweet at Ross4OK, and your comments and questions and everything should pop up. That said, we've got some stuff to talk about tonight, and so I'm going to get right to business. First of all, um, I do want to bring up something really, really serious. My friend and our senator in this district, Senator Allison Eichley Freeman, was involved in a car accident on Friday that put her in the hospital over the weekend. Um, she's in stable condition, and the progress reports we've been getting have been good. In fact, I linked on my Facebook to a statement the from the Senate Minority Leader, Senator Kay Floyd, who updated us on Senator Eichley Freeman's status. But I would encourage you, please remember to keep her and her wife and their family in your thoughts and prayers. She's a good public servant and a good friend, and we wish her a speedy recovery and healing, and just want to kind of keep them in our thoughts. Um, so, with that said, last week we did finally see, after kind of a false start the week before, we did see the legislature declare end of session Friday, and in that time. Um, we did see some overrides of some of the governor's vetoes, and that's kind of interesting because I think I could be wrong on this, but we saw that this was, if not a record number of veto overrides, an unusually high number considering that the governor and the Senate Majority Leader, the pro tem, and the Speaker of the House are all the same party. One bill that was vetoed that the legislature declined to take up that has very, very serious ramifications for all of us is the bill that would be the funding mechanism for Governor Stitt's proposed Sooner Care 2.0 plan. Now, if you've been following along, you know that we've talked about Sooner Care 2.0 here a couple of times, and I would encourage you to go back through our archives. We actually did a nice explainer of what was in Sooner Care 2.0, how it differs from a full traditional Medicaid expansion. With that said, by gutting the funding mechanism for his own healthcare proposal, the governor basically kneecapped any Medicaid expansion outside of passing State Question 802. If State Question 802 doesn't pass, the governor, has no funding mechanism in place to pay for his proposal, so it's basically dead in the water. If 802 passes, then that creates a constitutional mandate that Medicaid expansion be funded. So with that said, that kind of adds to the importance of passing State Question 802. If you've been following this campaign, or if you followed my previous campaign, you know that I've been a staunch advocate over the last couple of years for Medicaid expansion. And the thing is, the data keeps backing that up. In fact, we've got some new data we're going to share here in just a moment. I want to stress to you, though, that it's important that elected officials not just go to the Capitol to cast votes, but also remember that part of their job is to advocate and inform. It's your representative's job to provide you with the facts and to provide hopefully an educated insight into what potential changes in the law might have in store for you and for your family. So know that when it comes to a matter like State Question 802, even though that's going to a vote of the people, um, I'm here to provide the informed insight I've gathered and to encourage you to look into the facts so that you too can cast an informed vote. And hopefully you'll be voting yes. Um, so let's take a look now at some of the data that has come out in a independent report that was prepared by the Oklahoma Hospital Association. I will link to this in a couple of places. I'll share it on Twitter and on Facebook and everything. You can read the full report online, and it's really pretty illuminating because it does a nice job of laying out in terms of the numbers what the impact of passing State Question 802 actually will be. Now, one of the things that we already know is that by passing State Question 802, we are essentially guaranteeing that for every dollar that the state puts in, um, excuse me, for every dollar that the state puts in, we're going to see $9 of federal dollars come back to us. It's a really, really good investment. Um, it also is going to have an impact beyond just the narrow scope of just healthcare and on into some of the other pressing issues of the day. Um, so let's take a look at some of the findings that were included in the report from the Oklahoma Hospital Association. First of all, let's look at statewide impact. When you look at the statewide impact of State Question 802, in addition to the fiscal impact, we also see that there's going to be a jobs impact. If you've been following the news, you know that right now the unemployment rate is the worst that's been in like 14 years. People are hurting, people need work. If we pass State Question 802, the Hospital Association's research has shown that what you're actually going to see is a addition of 27,280 jobs statewide. This isn't just doctors and nurses. This is also secondary jobs that feed into the healthcare field. Things like transportation and manufacturing and clerical work and all of these things that are components of providing quality health care to Oklahomans. So 27,280 jobs is a shot in the arm that our state sorely needs right now. In addition to that, we're looking at statewide $15.6 billion in economic activity. Again, that's not just healthcare providers. That is also secondary healthcare, or excuse me, secondary economic factors as well. So you're looking at a true economic shot in the arm. Beyond that, you're looking at $488.7 million added into state and local tax coffers. We're looking at a revenue crisis with regard to state funding, and every every dollar we can add into the formula helps take some of the pressure off of services that are much needed by Oklahomans from county to county. 488.7 million is a substantial amount of money, and really it makes good fiscal sense statewide. But beyond that, let's look at how things impact us a little bit more on the local level. Let's take a look at Tulsa County, for example. So in Tulsa County, you're looking at an addition of 2,466 jobs within the state, or excuse me, within the county. Beyond that, we're talking about $683 million in economic activity, and we're looking at a lessening of the burden on our hospitals within the Tulsa metro area. One of the things that is significant about this expansion is that it will allow more rural hospitals to keep their doors open, which in turn means that you're going to see people in smaller communities who are able to get treatment closer without having to be transported into the major metropolitan areas. So you have people getting better health care because they have it nearby. You have people in our in our metro area benefiting because it eases up on some of the crowding within hospitals, some of the wait time. Um, Overall, State Question 802 is a win for the state of Oklahoma. It's a win for Tulsa County. It's a win for District 68. And as I've said since 2000, 2018, I've been advocating for Medicaid expansion. It just makes good sense. I would encourage you, like I said, I'm going to link to this report if you'd like to read it for yourself. I certainly encourage you to make an informed decision, but at this point, the decision that to me makes the best sense in terms of providing services for Oklahomans, services for our community, and in terms of providing benefits, including adding jobs and adding to local and state economies. 802 is the smart way to go. Now remember, this is going to be on the ballot on June 30th. So keep in mind, State Question 802, even if you don't have any primaries you have to vote on. I know that in District 68, on the Democratic side, there aren't any primaries. On the Republican side, there will be a Senate primary for Senate District 37. Even if you don't have a primary to vote in, your vote counts on 802. And given the environment that we're in right now, your vote counts tremendously. So please, please, please make sure that you make that a priority. So once again, as I've repeated each week, I want to encourage you to be sure and request your absentee ballot so that you can vote by mail. Voting by mail is safe, it's easy, it's convenient. Um, unfortunately, gosh, our legislature decided to strike down a decision by the Supreme Court that would have made it even safer and even easier. I sure wish that they had not done that. I sure wish that our representative, my opponent, had not voted to make things more difficult for you, but that's the way it goes. Even so, here's a quick explainer on how easy it is to request your absentee ballot so that you can vote safely from your home. Take a look. That's how easy it is. Remember that you have time kind of running out on getting that request in. You can request all the way up until the Wednesday before the vote. However, it's always best to go ahead and make that request earlier so that you don't have to sit by the mailbox uh, singing "Please, Mr. Postman." So be sure that you do that. Also, a quick reminder that if you have not registered, if you will turn 18 on or before June 30th, you still have time to register to vote in the June 30th election. All you have to do is go to the state election board's website and print out a copy of a copy of the form. Um, Unfortunately, we do not have online registration yet, but even so, it's a quick form to fill out. And if you get it turned in by June 2nd, so that's next week, it's coming up real fast. Get turned in by June 2nd, you will be eligible to vote in the June 30th election, and you will be able to cast your vote to get State Question 802 written into law. So keep that in mind. It's an injection of much needed funds. It's a expansion of healthcare access for Oklahomans who desperately need it. It's a job creator. I mean, it's everything that we want in good legislation. So please make sure that you cast that yes vote. So let's see, you've got June 2nd is the cutoff to register. The Wednesday before the 30th is going to be the last day to request an absentee ballot. Remember that absentee ballots have to be received by 7 o'clock on the 30th. So get that ballot filled out and dropped in the mail as soon as it comes back. One other thing that I want to address, because it's something that there are folks trying to make an issue of this, and it's a non-issue. In the state of Oklahoma, voter fraud by mail is virtually non-existent. In fact, in the very, very few instances where there's been any kind of error in a vote by mail ballot, it's been something that was done accidentally and not with malice. Keep that in mind. Vote by mail is safe, it is efficient. It's, in the era of COVID-19, it's a step you can take to protect yourself and to protect the people you care about. So make sure you cast that vote. Something else I would ask that you do is feel free to ask your current representative whether or not he supports State Question 802. He has refused to take a public stand on it. You'll want to ask him publicly on his Facebook. Um, that seems to be where he wants to communicate with people. Um, but if you want to be able to draw a clear contrast, I'm willing to come out here and tell you where I stand and give you my reasons. I think that he owes you the same. So, with all of that said, I wish you all a very safe and healthy and happy evening, and we will be back to our regular day and time next Monday, 7 o'clock, right here. In the meantime, remember to mask up and glove up. Tomorrow, I'm actually going to a regularly scheduled doctor's checkup, and got a reminder that my doctor wants me to mask up, and she's a smart lady, so I'm going to do what she asks. But again, remember that wearing personal protective equipment isn't just keeping you safe, it's also preventing you from being an unintentional uh, vector for transmission. It's keeping you safe, but it's also keeping everybody else safe. I keep people like my mom, who's a cancer patient. I keep people like her in mind because, um, this is a disease that it's an opportunist, and if you have people you care about who have weakened immune systems, it could be catastrophic. So do keep that in mind. With that said, be safe. Have a wonderful evening. Um, Stay dry. I think we've got some rain coming up. And I will see you all next Monday. Have a great week.